taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Hey, it's Cherami Leigh, and you are watching my favorite channel on YouTube, the Triple S League. Enjoy, guys.
Cherami Leigh, ladies and gentlemen, confirmed this week the voice of Female V in Cyberpunk 2077. It was confirmed back in 2018 that she was the voice in the demo, or the gameplay demo. But it's official. She is the voice of the character in the show. And yes, that was really her. We grabbed that audio recording from her when we ran into her at a convention a year or more ago, and she wasn't able to confirm at the time that her full involvement in the game. But it's out there now. So you are listening to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and insights about games in the gaming industry for March 11th. It is the Wednesday edition of the show. We just missed Mario Day. That was yesterday. Mar 10, Mario Day. But we do have a podcast coming up on Saturday, which is the 14th, for Pi Day. If you have any ideas for anything special we can do to celebrate, you could always, eat pie while you're listening to the podcast. You probably don't want to sit around listening to us eat pie, though. So anyway, if there's any special way we can celebrate that day, let us know. My name is Ash. I'm here as always with Obsidian. We've also got the Mad Queen with us today to discuss all of the Cyberpunk 2077 news. Welcome, Mad Queen.
Greetings, Earthlings, and thank you for having me again.
You are very welcome. Anyone who is not from Earth, Mad Queen does not extend you greetings. All right, so... and Obsidian is with us as well.
Hello.
And, some interesting Cyberpunk 2077 stuff to talk about. So, as I said, I mentioned the Cherami Leigh stuff already. We will be talking quite a bit about Female V today because there was a new design for the default Female V announced. Plus, Cyberpunk 2077 has hit a major milestone to, on their journey towards being released. And then a few other things we're going to discuss later in the show. Mad Queen's only with us for the first hour, and then she's running off to do a stream on her own channel. So
I'm playing stealthy, non-lethal playthrough of Deus Ex 3. Which is a joke that the people that I'm seeing people in the chat that are commenting that are on my stream, and they would laugh at the joke because I intended to go more or less non-lethal, more or less stealthy, but it ended up being Doom.
Knowing you, that doesn't surprise me, quite frankly.
Okay.
All right, so yes, if you're listening live, please do say hello in the live chat. Send us your questions and comments there as well. We'll respond and read as many as we can throughout the podcast. And don't forget to slam that like button. It likes it rough, and it tells us in YouTube that you appreciate this content. Side might be a little quieter than normal today because he's got some kind of an infection in his auditory receptors. So he doesn't have the thing,
the other thing, no,
that we can't say because of. That's the other thing we have to talk about. E3 got officially canceled. So we'll talk about that as well. But first...
Surprise!
Oh, yeah, exactly, right? Nobody saw that coming. All right, Cyberpunk 2077. So, let's talk about Cherami Leigh. She is pretty awesome. A very, very friendly personality, if you ever run into her in person. And, she was kind enough to do a recording for us. So it was really exciting to have it. I mean, we knew. It was kind of like a poorly kept secret, but
yeah. Well, it's one of those things, and this is actually what some of the union striking was about just a few years ago, and this was, I think, she was recording either immediately following it or just before that strike ended up happening. It caused a significant delay in a lot of games, if you remember. We don't know exactly how this stuff is ranked out. They've been working on Cyberpunk for a really long time, so we don't know how long they've been doing their voice their voice work. We know that she got her lines done in pretty quickly, but she's also a professional when it comes to this, and she really is a professional. Like, she does entire seasons of anime in like a week or less. Like, she will sit down and do 60, 80 hours of dialogue. Most people cannot do that. Most professionals can't do that. Most professionals cap out on their audio work after like 20, 30 hours in a week. But she's been doing it for years, so she has she has an enormous history of doing this kind of stuff, and she's very well trained, so she doesn't run into the same problems that a lot of like newer people do, where, like, seriously, if I tell you, hey, talk for 80 hours in a week, you're probably going to be like, what? No. Like, oh yeah, I could probably do that. And then after you get like 20 hours in, you're suddenly discovering that, oh my, this is really hard. And then once you hit 40 hours, you're starting to like, grow weak and faint. So
no, it's not easy, especially if you're trying to maintain a particular voice.
yes,
You want it to remain.
yeah.
Man, I've been recording lines for our new episode of Gaming After Dark this week, and I've been downing water by the literful, just to stay hydrated, keep the voice nice and lubricated, and but yeah, doing so I can't imagine doing that much voice work for for days and days on end. It's not easy, not an easy thing.
And a lot of people wonder why there's certain voice actors that show up in like literally everything, especially when it comes to like anime. And the answer for that is it's a hard job, and it doesn't pay a lot. It's starting to pay more, but voice work, 10 years ago was kind of a joke. Like, people just didn't care. There was another famous voice actress who put it this way. She's like, you're a second voice on a foreign piece of entertainment. You're on your second voice track on a
You're
foreign
talking
piece of
about dubbing.
dubbing, yeah. And so you're not considered like somebody of any importance when it comes to like Hollywood or anything like that, because they don't even see that as a up until recently, they didn't even see that as something to be even like, don't put that on your resume when you're trying to get land acting gigs. But she's worked in a bunch of things as both a writer and some other stuff. And so yeah, it's something that she's been quite good at. So, and she really loves she has a passion for it too. So that helps a lot as well. And she's got a passion for video games too. So, and also one of the most, seriously, one of the most, we're hoping to set up something with her in the near future. But yeah, this is somebody who I have personally witnessed be more calm and, as deep as an ocean when it comes to dealing with things that normal people would roll their eyes with, at the very least, or not want to be even associated with it. And yet she does that all. So yeah, I am very, very. I've always been very impressed with her, just on a person to person level, as well as on an acting level. So yeah.
Yeah, we would love to. We're going to try to arrange an interview with her. We don't know how complicated that is. I don't know if we have to go through agents or what.
I have an in. We're working on it.
So yeah, we'll keep you updated on that. But either way, regardless, you will hear her lovely voice in Cyberpunk 2077.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mad Queen, any thoughts about that?
She's awesome, and I believe that's it. I already explained it in a perfect way. Nothing more to add to this.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll get on to the new design of Female V. And CD Projekt Red released some new artwork, a new wallpaper, and you can see it on the thumbnail today. You see Cherami on the right, and then you see the new artwork of Female V on the left. Now, this is not the only thing they released. They also released the official cover with her. Mad Queen, I'm going to crank up your volume a little bit because you're a little quiet coming through here. All right. So,
what I was saying is that this image of the unicorn is not new, because I remember all the conversation about the unicorn and Blade
Wait.
Runner and all that.
The unicorn? Oh, the
Yes.
the origami unicorn that she's holding in this picture.
Yes. Oh, you meant the new image, the female V new image.
Isn't
Oh,
this
you-
her
oh,
new
oh,
design?
No, this one was around for quite a while. They just released the wallpaper version.
Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, you can grab this image if you like it. I thought it was the new design because the hair is flipped to the other side of her head, as we'll see in the next image here. We have
No, but we saw it time again, and I remember for the unicorn because it generated a lot of conversation about the ending of Blade Runner, of one of the versions of Blade Runner with a unicorn, to imply that the cut may be a replicant.
interesting. Also, cyber unicorns confirmed. There you go. At least paper ones. But yeah, this is why I thought that it was her new design. Maybe they were working on it at the time. Because the hair...
Well, obviously you don't create a character from one day to the other.
Exactly. No, yeah. Exactly. Neon Arcade says the older picture was cut off from the nose up. By the way, shout out to Neon Arcade in the chat today. Thank you for the insight there. Okay, so it was more focused on the unicorn as opposed to the like the face of the character. But here in the picture I've got up on the screen right now, we have a comparison, the new version of female V, the default female V, and this will be on the cover of Cyberpunk 2077. If you get the physical version, it'll have a reversible insert to, so you can flip it to show female V, or male V will be on the other side. So this is the new default female V next to the old one. Now, this is not
the hair.
I'm sorry?
It's fantastic. The texture of the hair of the new one is so beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Compared to the old one that looks like plastic.
Well, and now this is not the greatest picture of female V, but there aren't a ton of great pictures of her. You kind of have to grab them from the gameplay footage and
the cosplay guides, high-res images of female V.
Oh, the cosplay guides. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. Yes,
Well, for the older version.
For
not
the older
newer
version, yeah. Anyway, so you can see the two here. So she's got the hair flipped to the other side. That's the major thing I noticed. Yes, the hair texture does look pretty awesome, and it's been given this reddish shade. Now, the face...
Because everybody loves red hairs.
Yeah. Ginger V. There you go. So the face is I don't know. It's similar yet it's different. I don't know. You could probably talk about this better than I can, Mad Queen. Just as far as
it's just a redesign, but
yeah,
they look somehow similar to me, but I mean, in general terms, the quality of the image is bigger. The other one is supposed to be rendered from the engine.
That's true. Also, for some reason, the female V here on the right really looks like Kristen Stewart to me in this shot. I don't know why. Something about the facial expression, but...
You mean none at all?
I mean, what, sorry?
None at all? Expression?
None at all. Yeah, exactly. That's right. So, another thing I've noticed is the color of the inside of the collar here. Do you think that's going to mean something in the game? Now, of course, we're going to be playing from first person, but do you think the color, whether it's glowing blue or glowing red, is that just a style thing? Does it actually mean something?
Well, there's a lot of cyberware that allows you to change the color of things, even the color of your hair, or the color of your skin, depending on your mood. So I believe that it's more a customization thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the cyberware in the arm is completely different. This is something that caught my attention more than the change of the wardrobe.
All right, let's talk about that. Yeah, in this old version, you can't see any of the sort of seams on her arm, if there are any. Maybe they just hadn't, put them in at this point. But we know V does have the mantis blades Anyway, what else can you tell us about the cyberware that's on her arm here?
Well, one was nothing. We already at this point, I believe we didn't know that the yes, because the gameplay was released a little later. In the gameplay, V was already showing that she had the mantis blades, but in this picture, she doesn't have any sideware, any noticeable sideware on her arm, and the new one obviously reflects the fact that she has the mantis blades, which I don't know if they're going to be by default, because it's not clear to me if the mantis blades can be compatible with the gorilla arms. I don't know if you can have both at the same time. Because the gorilla arms is the other cyberware that you have inside the game to have stronger arms if you choose a path of solo, the kind of solo that likes close combat. And it's also the cyberware that the noodle guy has,
Okay.
the bodyguard of Dexter, called in the internet the noodle guy. And I believe that
noodle
he's
guy.
going to be called the noodle guy for the rest of his existence. And it goes in the same place. I don't know if it's going to be compatible, if you will be able to have both the mantis blades and the gorilla arms, or you'll have to choose one of those.
Right. Okay, so the mantis blade's not necessarily a default cyberware. And actually, yeah, we knew that from, I believe they did state that fairly early on, that you would have the, what's it called? The Kiroshi Eye?
Yes.
Um,
But the Kiroshi Eye is something that you need to have.
yeah, so that you'll have for sure. And then
because
pretty
you
much
need
everything
the
else
HUD
is...
with the maps and the quests and you know, and the telephone calls and all that. I mean, you need a HUD in game, so you need the Kiroshi to have the I don't know if this is still the Times Square was called in the 2020, which is a what is the HUD of a game in your eye basically, and this is necessary for the video game per se. So to have an excuse to show you the HUD in game in a way that is low friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But the mantis blades, and this is this scene in the gameplay where V goes to see Victor to put the link, the neural link with the weapon, and she puts her arm in the in this thing where Victor is putting the cyberware in her hand, and she doesn't have this cyberware either.
So that's
although in the same gameplay she has the mantis blades.
Right. Interesting. Okay. So this is a new addition. These visible seams on her arm, but again, probably still an optional thing. So, outfit looks pretty much the same, aside from again the color of the inside of the collar. But yeah, overall, female V looks pretty good to me. I know that the reactions are mixed on this. Got Somnolence in the chat saying the new design is worse. The first one was beautiful. Sword Sister, they don't even look like the same person. It's art, and that's true. I mean, it's a different person. Like, she's got a different face. There's some similarities, but it's a different default. But of course, you can make your V look any way you like. This is simply the basically the default to go on the cover kind of thing, or maybe your starting template. All right, let's see. The Ali Mafuz says, I imagine that origami is going to be a super emotional moment in the game. It has some story to it. Could be.
Well, it isn't Easter egg Blade Runner.
It could be a Blade Runner Easter egg. Origami, I mean, there's a lot of Japanese influence in the cyberpunk world, so origami might have some significance in the game as well. Time Bean says, I think she looks fine. I mean, we can create what we want. No? Yes, absolutely.
Well, yeah, after all, she's only the cover. I mean, then inside the game, you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Robin Green says, yeah, I just hope they don't mongrelize all the collectibles based on the new look. Not sure what that means exactly, but So Robin's not a fan of the new look. Time Bean says the hair looks great. I wonder if it will look that way in the game. Yes, hair. I mean, I really hope that they do a good job with the hair in game. Hair rendering.
As usual. It's going to depend on your heart. I mean, hair is the thing. One of the things that depends the most on the hardware, because it needs a lot of resources to render.
Yes, absolutely.
So probably if you have a PlayStation 4 or the current generation of the Xbox,
maybe not,
or an old PC.
Yeah, why all you ladies need to do have fancy hair and stuff?
I can make him a male V and put him a fancy hair, and also Johnny Silverhand has fancy hair. That's going to
this is true. This is true.
Going
it
to
was a
render
joke.
better.
It was a joke.
Render better on PC and on the new generation of consoles.
Mm-hmm.
I was building a joke over your joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ali Mafuz says, I imagine both male and female V were done at the same time, but the female one was held back. Yeah. So, yeah, it looks like because most of the media since the gameplay demo has focused on male V, and so looks like female V was held back for a redesign. Perhaps focus groups or like test audiences didn't react as positively to her appearance, so maybe that's why they changed it. I'm speculating at this point, but that for whatever reason they decided she needs a redesign, so there you go. How could you compare that? Shira's saying, how can you compare the hair? The picture on the right is from in-game. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, so on the left you've got a full high-res graphics render as opposed to an in-game engine render, which we have on the right. Let's see, what else here? Lots of comments about this. Game Notes says, Neon's hair is pretty fancy. Huh? Well,
as it is.
I don't actually know what Neon's hair looks like. Brotech, yes, the W3 hair was good, but the wind blowing through the hair inside buildings is a no-go this time. Tandem 1221.
Hey, maybe there's just really good ventilation.
Yeah, there you go. Or you could you want that glamorous sort of photo shoot look all the time. You could install like tiny fans in your head to just constantly have your hair blowing.
Well, you have different cyberware for your hair. You can also have changing colors. You can also have that make some electricity light.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward to see all the fashion wear, because in the lore you also had light emitting tattoos, and that would be very interesting, especially in the dark moments of the game where you go to Westbrook. Westbrook is obviously this is speculation, but Westbrook is going to be filled with neon lights. I am so sure of that. It's going to be like a super, super exaggerated version of Blade Runner. And in the middle of it, V with light emitting tattoos. This could be so awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Tandem 1221 says glowing tattoos on the head with shaved hairs would look cool. Absolutely. King Weeby, can you style all your hair is the question. Oh, I'm sure.
Well, you're supposed to.
You're going to be able to pick hairstyles. I don't know how much you'll be able to customize it. I mean, eventually in games you'll be able to like just style hair completely custom way and have it respond to that and have that work just in game. I don't think we're at that point quite yet though. Reticulum, I like both models. Sorry?
Sorry. Glowing Mr. Stud, says the Neon Arcade.
A glowing Mr. Stud. Yeah. Well, you want to be able to find it in the dark, right? Yeah.
Oh, you have sex with the lights off?
Sometimes. Why are we? How am I even supposed to answer this? Okay. Robin Green says, "Hey Bean, you might be able to have tentacle hair. Yeah, go full Medusa." Time Bean also thinks that she would rock that jacket. Hashtag CyberHobbit. Nice. Okay, so
Shall we move
Padone
on?
Rosso.
to the-
Oh, one other comment here. Maybe this new design is intended to show facial expressions that are more in line with what we've seen in the cinematic scenes with Male V as protagonist. Could be too, yeah. Could be. All right. All right. Anything more about this? From Cyber Mad Queen? No. All right, then we will.
Yeah, no, I think it is kind of weird that the images are swapped, and I wonder if that's just an image swap.
Like she's just been reversed. That with the
Yeah,
hair.
it's
Yeah.
kind of reversed. Yeah.
Well, it's true too because she's her trigger hand has also changed. I mean, in the picture on the left, she's clearly left-handed, and then in the right, she's got the gun in her right hand. So, or sorry, swap that. It's the reverse of what I just said. The picture on the right, the old V, is left-handed, and then the current V is right-handed. Now, I mean, she might have cyberware that makes her ambidextrous or something. Who knows? That's probably going to be dual guns. But yeah, but you know what this means, though. Of course, one of the first mods is going to be the original female V. That'll be one of the first mods for this game.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that won't be the first mod. I can imagine some Thomas the Tank engine, some flying, flying dragons. Like definitely Thomas the Tank for the first one. Surprisingly, we probably won't be needing a nude mod for the first time in forever because it comes with the game. So yeah, that'd be maybe some options to open up choice of garment, I guess, here and there. But yeah, maybe. But no, definitely some Thomas the Tank.
Now, Robin's
Thomas the Train. Oh, I've been saying tank. Oh no, this fever is getting to me.
Thomas the Tank Engine. So you're not completely wrong. It is called Thomas the Tank Engine. Ali Mafuz says, disagree, sub, it'll be Siri. Mark my words. That'll be one of the first as well.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we move on, I would like to point out that in the images of in the cosplay guide, the previous V also had a blue neck in the jacket and also had the red head tints in her hair.
Interesting. And yeah, I'm sure that, of course, hair color and all of that color stuff will be easily customizable. Let's see. Oh, Robin Green says, nude mods not being necessary. We've come a long way. Well, there you go. Okay. So, other Cyberpunk 2077 news. The game has been submitted to rating agencies around the world, which is, of course, a big step in the final stages of production of the game. Adam Badowski revealed this on Twitter yesterday. So it's been submitted to age rating agencies around the world, PEGI, ERSB, etc. Well, and he says, while we wait for the game to get rated, we work on polishing technical aspects and playtesting it. So it sounds like the story stuff, the quests, all of that is pretty much done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people on the Quest team have been tweeting for some time now that they were playtesting the game, making the rest of us jealous, jealous with us.
Jealous, yes.
Jealous like jelly, like the one you eat.
Jealous, like yes, yeah. We got it. He goes on to say the game is looking better and better with each passing day. So, what do you think? Is this going to land on an M rating, or do you think we're going to get the adult, the AO, adult only? And what kind of effect is that going to have on game sales?
Well, they aimed for the adult only all the time. It's not like they aimed for anything else. They were very clear about that since the beginning.
Right, but in terms of, like, it's clearly a game for adults. But, for example, okay, so The Witcher 3 was rated M by the ESRB and PEGI 18 in Europe. That had basically kind of softcore sex scenes, brothel visits, and very graphic violence. And that got the M rating. AO is like a step above that. So
What is AO?
AO stands for adult only. And I don't know what it would be in, maybe, I don't know if Europe has a comparable one. Is PEGI 18 the highest rating in Europe?
Well, no, you have X for porn,
Right.
the only entertainment product that got this rating, since I can't remember that it's not porn, was one of the Saw films.
Right.
But in here, the ratings are, I mean, for instance, I believe, as example, Terminator 2 was 18 in the States and was 13 in Europe. So it's a little more relaxed.
More relaxed. Now, that
So
was
I
probably
mean,
for violence, right? Because I don't think that... It's been a while since I've seen it.
Well, the Saw film, I don't remember which one, but it was for the violence. But I don't think that Cyberpunk is going to have more violence than The Witcher, because The Witcher has quite graphic violence.
Absolutely.
And swears and sex scenes. So I believe that the rating is going to be more or less the same.
Do you think that the adult scenes are going to be more graphic than The Witcher? Because I mean,
No, I don't think so.
Witcher was very... I mean, it was... Like, it wasn't like... What do you want to say? I would call it softcore, right?
In America and in Europe, we have a very different concept of what is more graphic and less graphic. And I'm going to put you an example. I don't remember the actress and I don't remember the film, but there was a film that had a sex scene that for the under the Europe perspective was very light, but it seems that under the American perspective it wasn't, because they made them remove the scene to get to not get the adult only. And this actress was being interviewed on a TV show in Spain, and the host said, "Well, this is the scene that they censored, and they put the scene on the television." Because under the European perspective, this wasn't that much, and the actress was freaking out. Like, did you just put this scene in the TV at 7 p.m. in the evening? And well, this is a European game, and we just have another perspective of that.
Yeah, no, perspectives on it are definitely very different. Different cultural things. And I don't want to go too far down this road, but yeah, it's interesting to think about, like, where exactly it's going to line up, because especially also the adult scenes are going to be first person, as far as we know, and that, I don't know if that's ever been done in like a mainstream game before. I can't think of an example. I've certainly never experienced it, but whereas, you know, in The Witcher you're watching passively. You know, and whereas
they didn't say that the sex scenes were interactive.
Not it.
Or they weren't. They didn't say they weren't either.
They didn't say either way on the interactivity of it.
Could you imagine a rhythm mini game?
I'm really concerned at the part where Johnny Silverhand is watching.
Yeah.
maybe it shifts from V's perspective to Johnny's perspective, and he's in first person, and he gets to comment, and that's the mini game, and you can like
that's what I'm afraid. That's what I'm afraid the most, because we all know that Johnny Silverhand is a dick. So
kill the mood simulator, yeah.
So he's gonna kill the mood. He's gonna cock block every step of the way. He's gonna prevent you from you know, and that's gonna be your that's your game. It's like how much can he block V? Oh my!
You read Neon's comment, right? Makes a case for using a controller with rumble features.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Gone off the rails. All right. I wonder if Maybe, yeah. I wonder if he'll be able to deactivate Johnny. It's like computer deactivate EMH.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to be around. I don't know, but he's a jerk. I
It's
mean,
like, I'm
I'm
outta
so
here, yeah.
afraid at the comments he could make, and it would be especially funny because I expect me to be totally clumsy with this part of the game because I'm always bad in all the games. Everything that you need to achieve through dialogue, as I'm bad with it in real life, I'm bad with it at the game. So, is he going to mock on me? I'm going to end every gameplay depressed.
Tandem 1221. First thing you hear after that romance scene is Johnny saying, "Whoa, dude, that was way too quick." There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so good progress being made. It's with the rating agencies. So does this mean that the likelihood of a second delay is getting pretty low?
Yeah.
So I would say
I would say that it's very, very low right now. I mean, there's only one thing that may cause a delay, and that would be a complete and total crash of essentially the economy through Plague Inc. live LARPing. So,
Yes, and then instead of playing Cyberpunk on a console, we will play Cyberpunk in real life without the cyberware.
Yeah, so which is, I mean, it's highly unlikely.
I thought we already were, except without the cyberware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the red versus blue analysis of the present. This is the present, where you have no cool stuff and also no morals.
You need to do a TV show about that.
Yeah, well, they kind of did. Yeah. All right, folks. Anything further about Cyberpunk you want to talk about before we move on to a couple other things? A couple other things that I think might interest you as well, Mad Queen.
Something that got cancelled, you mean?
Something that got canceled? No. Well, we are going to talk about that. Actually, we could talk about that next. So yes, so E3 has been officially canceled, and let me just find my info on this here. Do I have the info on it here? I don't seem to have it pulled up. But anyway, so E3 officially canceled because of the current events in the world. And we talked about this quite a bit on the previous podcast. We were talking about how they lost their creative direction team. The company pulled out. And also, I mean, companies were pulling out left and right. And finally, the event has just been shut down. So for the first time since the 90s, there will not be an E3 this year. A lot of companies are going to do their own online thing, which we also talked about. In this day and age, when you can do live streaming on the internet, these kinds of conventions like E3 kind of have to shift focus in order to remain more relevant. And E3 did make a big shift a few years ago, allowing in the general public. But when you've got some of the biggest names in the industry pulling out, then what do you do? You know, Sony and EA have both pulled out and decided they're going to do their own thing. A bunch of other companies did as well. So it almost seems like the reasons for the actual cancellation was almost more like the final straw rather than the this massive upset in what was happening. I mean, still a big event that got shut down, but it kind of looked like they were heading in this direction anyway. You know what I mean?
The thing about E3 is that, well, obviously it's a place where all the press gathers together, so any kind of news that you set out is easily expanded because all the press is there, and not only gaming press, sometimes also other types of press, and having the same impact doing different what's the name of it? Different shows. It's going to be a little slightly difficult, but doing on streams where you can directly reach the final audience, that's very interesting. And as I said the other day, we discussed that. I am surprised that the online side of things is not exploited way more. It's like in this day and age. For instance, the Game Awards. The online part is on Twitch, live on Twitch. But then when you restream it, you have a lot of copyright claims because of the commercials of Nintendo and Sony, and which is absurd. I believe that they should focus more in the viral side of it, so it reaches as much people as possible. And I am surprised that up to this point, E3 didn't have a clear strategy as a show to be online, to have an online presence beyond of what the YouTubers going there were doing, or the conferences that are on Twitch. But they don't have a huge online presence. If you are not there, you don't get to experience a fraction of E3, almost anything, only the conferences, and only again what the YouTubers want to transmit to you. But the show has never done any efforts in creating the online side of it, and maybe it's a good moment to think about it, because there's not going to be a physical show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good opportunity for them to shift to more of an online focus. As well as for...
And there's talk about that right now. They're talking about potentially like changing it up to do an entirely online show. This, again, may have been premature. Like, we don't know where we're going to stand in a month, let alone 2 months. You know, there's lots and lots and lots and lots of different... what do you call those? Like data sheets showing like possible like growth and expansion, and this might be something that only lasts for another 2 months.
Right.
In which case they're going to look real stupid for having canceled the show in June for something that they're worried about in March. By end of April, this whole thing could be done and gone with.
Well, there
are people that have to build the booths. You don't build them and design and build. You don't do it from one day to the other.
No.
Yeah,
but
there's a critical point where you have to decide: are we pulling the plug or are we going ahead with it? And it looks like they've hit that point. So, I mean, I think it's the smart move. And I wouldn't, if June comes and everything's dissipated and there's no longer any risk, I wouldn't look at them and be like, oh, that was dumb, personally. But again, it is a good opportunity for them to explore other options as well. Really, like E3, we've talked about how political it is. We've talked about how suppressed independent content creators are at the event. And we've experienced that firsthand as a group. And so, yeah, a change-up was needed, so maybe this will be a shove in the right direction for them.
I would like to answer Ali that says, honestly, even an online-only show would eventually be seen as dull, excuse me, and soulless, because people weren't able to make new friends and meet new amazing talents. I don't mean that the physical version should disappear, because obviously E3 is also a hub. It's also a hub for developers because once they finish a game, they need to find a new project. It's a place to find producers, people to fund your games. I mean, in the business side, E3 is very important. Also, in the side of making contacts, it's very important. I don't say that they should remove the physical side of E3. What I'm saying is I am shocked that they didn't work in moving forward something for the people that cannot attend E3 in other parts of the world.
Yeah, they kind of relied on the companies doing their own press conferences. And those are good and all. Well, good being a very relative term. It's a good concept. The shows themselves haven't always been very useful or helpful. In many cases, they've been very disappointing.
You're supposed to pay a lot to the organization of E3 for a space, for a booth, and for whatever, and they should put something to help developers to spread the word.
Yes. And Juan Primera says, I'm not advocating for E3, actually far from it, but gamers and gaming companies need these types of conventions, so new developers and creators need these stages to get known and show their creations. Absolutely. I mean, there is definitely still a place for it. It definitely, in my opinion, needs to be more open and welcoming to the independent creator communities rather than sort of the elite journalist class. But anyway, we've talked that to death before. So yes, so no E3 this year. Probably going to be a lot to cover at that time, regardless, but no E3 this year. All right, a few other things. Horizon Zero Dawn is coming to PC. It's been confirmed. And the reactions to this are, among PC gamers, seems to be, of course, well, seems to be very positive. I was seeing some chatter on Twitter that PlayStation gamers were less thrilled about this.
I honestly don't understand why they even care.
Yeah, I don't know either. I guess maybe it takes away from the, like, if these exclusives are going to go to PC, why would I buy a PlayStation? Of course, we're talking about a game that's 3 years old at this point, and it's just now coming to PC. And PlayStation's worldwide studio president, Herman Hulst, gave an interview talking about this, and really the goal of this, their goal is to show people, is to get more people introduced to PlayStation and, quote, show people maybe what they've been missing out on. So this, they seem to be looking at this as a marketing strategy for exposing people to some PlayStation exclusives and maybe bringing some of them over to buying PlayStation.
So I don't get it. When Epic Games has an exclusive that is only exclusive for some time, everybody refers to it as exclusive. Then Horizon Zero Dawn, that has been an exclusive of PlayStation for 3 years, now it's not an exclusive. Make up your mind, gamers of the world. If you had a PlayStation, you got the chance to play the game first 3 years ago.
Yeah. So it became a timed exclusive, I guess. I mean, exclusive, yeah. And most of the Epic exclusives are timed exclusives.
Yes.
But Hurst goes on to say to maybe put a few minds at ease. Releasing one first-party AAA title to PC doesn't necessarily mean that every game will now come to PC. In my mind, Horizon Zero Dawn... What's that?
2 games, because Death Stranding is also going to PC.
Right. Although that one, that was not classified as a PlayStation exclusive. They were... that was a...
They recanted on that a little while ago, but it's still, I mean, it's still, you know, it still is for most people considered an exclusive, but yeah, they are bringing it to PC a whole lot faster. They got to port it a little bit more than what they have before. So, which
that's on the
which
same...
I just want to remind everybody, I brought that information up like 3 years ago. Wow. So that's cool. That's cool.
I wonder if it has any, because it is the same engine as Horizon Zero Dawn. I wonder if the engine had anything to do with that decision. If it's like really works really well on PC or easy to port. I don't know. Again, speculation.
Well, it's a great marketing strategy because Horizon Zero Dawn 2 has been announced already.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been? I actually hadn't heard that.
It's on the works, but what I don't know is if it's been announced.
It hasn't. I don't think it's been announced officially, but we know that they're working on it because it was such a huge success for them. So,
I mean that it's very stupid thinking that it wouldn't, to be honest.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
And guys, I am so sorry, but I should leave because I have Jansen waiting for me in my own stream, so I should go to shoot some people in the face.
All right. Well, thank you, Mad Queen, for joining us. Thank you for your input. We will carry on.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Always welcome to talk about Cyberpunk stuff. We'll carry on with just a few more topics here. So yeah.
Well, you have a lovely stream.
Thank you.
Bye.
bye.
So, yeah, anyway. So Hulst it goes on to emphasize that they're committed to dedicated hardware. This doesn't mean that they're going to be bringing all their exclusives onto PC. They're experimenting a bit, trying things out to see what works. But again, it does seem to be a kind of a marketing strategy to bring people to PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's something that they need to do right now because they have not been things have not been going well for them. So
really, the exclusives are one of the biggest selling points that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise,
but I mean, just in general, they've encountered a lot of like negative feelings from some of the more so on the side of the devs. A lot of devs have come to the point where they're really starting to get fed up with them, and they really dislike the amount of stuff and problems that they've been doing. So we've talked about that before, but we'll see how their choices going forward, how that'll affect, if it'll affect anything at all, as far as like the general direction of how they're perceived as a company. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah, they need something to compete. When you consider what Microsoft is doing with Xbox, really
Mm-hmm.
expanding the Xbox ecosystem onto PC, they're bringing a lot of their games to Steam, and like they're opening things up a lot. Like really, aside from the exclusives, I don't see any reason to choose PlayStation over Xbox at this point. I would still, choose PC over either one. But that, comes with extra costs, and, generally the hardware is more expensive if you want a really high-end one. So, I think that's about all there is to say about that. The other interesting thing, though, we were expecting it to be an Epic exclusive when it eventually did come. Has that come to pass, or is this going to be available on Steam? Do you know?
For which, sorry?
Horizon Zero Dawn. Do we know which platforms it's going to be available on? Is it going to be Steam, or is it...
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about PC. I'm like, they just announced it.
Yeah, no.
No, we don't know which distributors, which platforms they're releasing it on. I don't believe that it has been announced yet. Don't be shocked if this is an Epic exclusive for like a year. Like, don't be shocked. Like, don't be shocked at all. Epic has really been trying to saddle up with PlayStation. Microsoft's been saddling up with Steam. There are reasons for them to try to do this. I know that as far as like the devs go, they're not interested in jumping into that. Really, when it comes down to it, Kojima is not interested in having this as an exclusive on any platform. He wants as many people to get access to this on the PC as possible, because again, as we've said before, it's a different experience, right? It's a different type of game than what you normally encounter on consoles, just in general. I don't want to get in trouble with our PlayStation fans again for misspeaking, but it's a different experience, and it's what he's trying to build that different experience. He's really trying to approach it, this concept of like carrot / stick / rope, and he wants to try and like grow on that and feed on that, and now we're seeing him kind of like branching what he took from that and trying to maybe branch over into a new direction of like doing more like film-based stuff, which totally like combining film and games at the same time. So we'll see where that ends up going. But yeah, he's not interested. Kojima really isn't interested in having this as a title. I would be very surprised that any of the people over at behind Zero Dawn are. I don't think any of those devs are interested in having it become an Epic exclusive, because that's just a lot of like bad press for a title that's supposed to be like an advertising gift, right? So, and the advertising gift being like, hey, play this thing and see what you're missing on PlayStation. Go buy the new PlayStation when it drops. That's essentially what they're doing. It's essentially what they're
Right.
trying to strive for.
I just found Horizon Zero Dawn on Steam. It has a Steam page.
Yeah.
Now, of course, that
And
we have seen
know
games
that
on
this
Steam
is
before that
Yeah.
have gone on to be
But
Epic exclusives.
I would say until it releases, I wouldn't guarantee anything, just because we know how this can kind of be.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we know when it comes down to this, really, this is Sony making the ultimate decisions on this kind of stuff. They're getting pressure from their developers because they have not been, especially in the last few years, they have not been friendly to developers just in general. More developers have left and have promised to never return to the PlayStation than in the entire history of the PlayStation. So in all of the years that PlayStation has been around, the last 2 years have resulted in more people saying that they're done with them and that they're moving on and that they will never work with them or for them again. That's a mind-blowing number, considering that was never an issue. A handful of Western companies said this back years and years and years and years and years ago. But other than that, it's never been a thing. And now you have dozens of studios that are saying we're done with PlayStation. We're never going back there again. And part of this has to do from their move to become where they really kind of turned their back on what people were expecting them to do and expecting them to create when it came to the Japanese market, especially. So yeah, it's weird. It's all over the place. It's difficult, of course, but yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention here, Command and Conquer Remastered Collection is arriving June 5th, 2020, and this has been getting some buzz on our Discord server, so I wanted to bring it up. So, what do you think about this one?
Do you mean that they're the Command and Conquer phone app hasn't been doing well, and they're trying to find a way to bring the Command and Conquer series back? Is that quite possibly a thing that's going on here?
Looks like that could be.
I believe them. Sometimes just the ineptitude at EA is just mind blowing. We hope that it's as good as what Microsoft has been doing with Age of Empires. We really do. This is a genre that has been in kind of the gutter for a little last while, but in the last year and a half has really started to take off again. The RTS, overhead, mass unit control, it 4 or 5 years ago was dominated just simply by StarCraft and Warcraft, mostly StarCraft, and really what we're starting to see, we're seeing this kind of genre have a big resurgence, and I think this is a good thing, because what we're going to see in the future is it's going to get better and better and better. So yeah.
Of course, EA is selling physical collector's edition that have all kinds of paraphernalia in them. So, I mean, make of that what you will. Pins and prints and sticker sheets and piece replicas. You get a soundtrack and everything. But, yeah, the 25th anniversary edition is retailing for $150. That seems high to me. I don't know. I mean, that is a massive collector's edition with all kinds of stuff in it, though. So, do you think?
Adam is asking if we think that Microsoft's they've got an online presentation coming on the 18th. Are we going to see anything from CDPR? That's very possible. I suspect there's a lot of things in flux at the moment due to all of the big conventions being canceled. I suspect that CDPR is now looking at their options and weighing what they what's best going to work out for them, considering this new scheduling system. So this is going to be really, really interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting and weird to have this year have a ton of games with very little to no physical presences. So any type of online big convention might be far more tempting, because really, sitting down and making a short video, in an afternoon is going to be far easier and far less costly than if you were to try and start from scratch. So yeah, it's interesting, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we've got Iron Harvest. Yeah, Brotech in the chat there. Iron Harvest. I've been looking forward to that game. It's it looks really great. I love the whole Steam tech stuff. Unfortunately it's a genre that's just never really taken off in the way that I think it could be. And each time somebody tries, they always bomb it so bad. It's it's always so frustrating. But yeah, that's a game I'm looking forward to. Resident Evil 3. 23 days until that drops. Yeah, some really good stuff coming up.
Okay, that's all the topics we had planned for today. We've we've gone through them really quickly or efficiently. Take your pick. So unless there's anything else to bring up, I think
general feedback on just to mention the general feedback on Baldur's Gate 3, still looking really good. If you guys are this is a title that we're hoping to chase quite a bit. So if you guys are interested, check out some of our deep dive stuff on the trailer. We put that up. But this game is looking better and better and better, because we're starting to see more and more and more of it kind of come around. So it's very, very exciting. And
yeah, it does look great. When I first heard the announcement, I had I had some excitement about it because of my connection to Baldur's Gate 2, but when I actually saw the gameplay for 3, I can't wait for this game now. I'm excited for the early access. I hope it's I know it's going to be a work in progress at that point, but it should still be a lot of fun. Okay. Well, I think that's it for our show today. I've kept up the picture of the 2 versions of Female V for the the entire second half of the show. Was not intentional, but you know what? It's some nice artwork to look at. But with that, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you for the great conversation in the live chat. If you want to keep up the conversation after the live broadcast, we welcome you to join our Discord community. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S community members and chat about all the things we love to talk about. Stay up to date about everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. Click the link below to join. Be sure to say hi to us in the welcome channel. And I want to extend an extra special awesome thanks to our Patreon supporters and our channel members who help to make this content possible. Our big dang heroes on Patreon, Josh, Robin, Time Bean, and our 2 anonymous supporters there. Thank you all so very much. Channel members, Mr. Pazdzernik, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Night City Punk, and Terror K. If you're listening after the fact on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other platforms this podcast goes out to, we appreciate your interactions there. And don't forget, you can join the live show on Wednesdays and Saturdays, where you can interact with us and other listeners and be a part of the discussion. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Ash. On behalf of Subsidian, thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon.